By the time I make this video, Shredder Rooms might be closed again. But according to Donald Trump, it is completely open. So I just wanted to go over some key points of that deal. Number one, the ceasefire in Iran and Lebanon must continue. The continuing development of ballistic missiles, that's what Iran has said will happen. Then Trump posts, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. They have agreed to stop enriching. I just wanted to say, do y'all remember the original deal?
After 2 years of negotiations, the United States, together with our international partners, has achieved something that decades of animosity has not. A comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
That deal took 2 years to come together. Then entered Donald Trump 2016 election, and he said this.
An agreement that was signed. It was a terrible agreement. It shouldn't have been signed. It shouldn't have been negotiated the way it was negotiated. I'm all for agreements, but that was a bad one, as bad as I've ever seen negotiated. They are not living up to the spirit of the agreement. I can tell you that.
Now, Donald Trump ran on, he was going to make a better deal. He was going to get a better nuclear deal. And he went over there once he got elected president and came back with absolutely no deal. See, before we could go and at least check and see how much they were enriching their nuclear, arsenal too. But Donald said, I don't think we can work with that at all. So now they can enrich as much as they wanted to. They had no oversight. Nobody was going in to go look for it. Now let's just set that aside for a moment, because I want you to reminisce with me. What was the original deal that Obama had made? Do y'all remember? Trump was bragging about, he paid $1.7 billion. He was sending planes, with boatloads of cash on it in order for us to take a look at their nuclear program. But let's digest that for a moment. You see, Donald Trump was focused on the fact that he claimed that Obama paid Iran $100 billion to be able to monitor the nuclear program. What actually happened was that Obama made a deal that was giving back the frozen assets that we froze under sanctions for Iran. And that was way back in the 79 revolution. So we tried to install another guy.
I don't think it's fair to say that Carter's somehow responsible for the Islamic Revolution and the fact that the Shah left in effect in exile, any more than it's fair to say that Eisenhower was responsible for the Cuban Revolution 90 miles from our shore in 1959, or that Obama was responsible for Mubarak losing his post. But having said that, it was the single worst intelligence failure in American history. We didn't realize, the CIA didn't tell the president, didn't know that the Shah had lost all of his domestic support. They didn't know that our principal ally for 25 years, the recipient of our most sophisticated arms, had lost not only the support, but was getting, for 5 years, secret treatments for incurable cancer. He was a sick man.
They kicked him out, their guy dies, and thus they had to wait all the way until Obama came along in order for them to try and get their assets unfrozen. The leverage. There was also 5, count them, 5 hostages that Iran had. And what Obama was doing was timing that hostage release with the new Iranian deal. So he said, hey, I'm going to give you guys $100 billion of your own frozen assets back, finally. In return, I need for you to pay off your debts. So we're going to need $50 billion of that. That was in the deal. You can have roughly $50 billion back. The hostages were released, 5 of them. Count them, 5 hostages. We also got access to their nuclear program to be able to monitor, and Trump said that was a horrible deal. Fast forward 2026. We are now looking at a deal where Iran has complete control of the Hormuz Strait. See that little passageway where the island ones are saying that the ship's got to check in on that side now. And we get to decide who we charge for a toll. I mean, our homeboys, we ain't gonna charge, but if you down with this war and you've been, plotting against us, yeah, we're gonna tax you. So they get to go in that way, then they can come out around the island. It's a bottleneck situation. Passage will be escorted by, raised from the dead, the RRGC Navy that we, of course, obliterated. I mean, that's what Trump said, right? They totally gone. But in the post that the Iranians just posted in response to Donald Trump saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open, and he's going to continue with the blockade. So the blockade is there because there is no deal. There still isn't no deal. This is all Twitter war stuff. So when Donald Trump talked to them and say, yeah, we're going to agree to that. See, they supposed to give the uranium up that they enriched. We're supposed to give $20 billion. Let me say that again. $20 billion.
But when you look at the deal according to Axios that's being negotiated, one element under discussion is that the United States would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium. That right there is huge. We would literally be unfreezing, giving $20 billion to the Iranian government, the same Iranian government that Trump says has terrorized Americans for 47 years.
So the $1.7 billion that Trump was bitching about, he just agreed on the phone with Trump to $20 billion unfrozen assets of Iranian. So, who got the better deal? And do you believe there's a deal at all? I mean, honestly, we all know everybody's just posturing right now. I told y'all that days ago. We got to re-up because we blew half the bag because Donald Trump thought he blew up the Navy when actually that was all they old stuff. That was just some old tinkers they had laying around for target practice just so you can see what we had. And then once they got the information from that, China sent them their air defense capabilities by satellite, which is how they blew the F-35s out of the sky, which is how they blew 25 mapping drones out of the sky. Yeah, they don't want to tell you that either.
The U.S., on June 19th, 2019, a $220 million U.S. drone, the RQ-4 Global Hawk, was flying near Iranian airspace. The U.S. said it stayed 18 nautical miles away, but Iran claimed it crossed in while gathering intelligence. At 4:05 a.m., Iran fired a missile and shot it down over the Strait of Hormuz.
The United States confirmed its costliest air loss in the Iran war. A $240 million MQ-4C Triton surveillance drone was destroyed. The high-value asset, which was twice the price of 2 F-35 fighter jets, vanished during a mission over Gulf nations. The MQ-4C Triton was last reported missing after sending a distress signal, a Squawk 7700 alert. The emergency call was triggered near the Strait of Hormuz on April 9th. Earlier reports claimed the unmanned aerial vehicle, or the UAV, was shot down by Iranian air defenses.
It's how they blew up 6 radar detection systems on 6 different bases in Saudi Arabia. That's why all our boys had to run to the hotels because they ain't had no radar to tell when the incoming missiles was coming. Who's winning the war? Who cares at this point? My point is, get the prices back down, right? Oh, yeah, about them prices. You see, Donald Trump made these tweets so that the oil could go down to $80 a barrel. Now, when Iran came out with their tweet, said, oh, that's what you're talking about? Oh, you ain't telling them what the deal, though. You ain't telling them what the deal is. So they put out these posts in order to let everybody know what they said the terms were to agree to. Donald Trump didn't mention none of this. But that oil went down, didn't it? For about 2-3 hours. You know they made a killing, right? When did they do this again? About a week ago? Yeah, about a week ago. When he said the Strait of Hormuz was open. About a week ago. See, Donald Trump does not care that we're spending billions of dollars out here in this ocean, keeping those ships out there, that they were losing F-35s, billions of dollars worth of military planes. That's the reason why we ain't flying over there no more. We got all the lines in the damn strait. He talking about there's going to be a joint effort between Iran and USA with clearing the mines.
And Trump continued to say, quote, Iran, with the help of the United States, has removed or is removing all sea mines. Thank you. Okay, that's positive news. But then here we go. After Iran announced that it was going to reopen the strait, Trump says this: the Strait of Hormuz is completely open and ready for business and full passage, but the naval blockade will remain in full force and effect as it pertains to Iran only, until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete. This process should go very quickly, and that most of the points are already negotiated. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Let me ask you a question. Y'all know we're supposed to get minesweepers. I think it was from Britain, somewhere like that. 2 of them. Have you heard any reportings of any mines being destroyed or found under the Strait of Hormuz? Absolutely not. Bullcrap. I call bullcrap. So we all know where all the mines is. At that exchange point, they're talking about north and south, where you go in, check in, pay that toll, and to come out. Right along there is all the mines is. You ain't seen near a boat. We posted on the outside of all that. Just watching. Now, reason why the blockade is still on, even though he's saying that it's open, is because he's going to try and check the Iranian ships coming out that didn't have to pay a toll if they make the American allies' ships pay a toll. That's what he's thinking he's going to do. We'll see how that works out. But honestly, ain't no deal. Cut the games.
Today, after 2 years of negotiations, the United States, together with our international partners, has achieved something that decades of animosity has not: a comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon. This deal demonstrates that American diplomacy can bring about real and meaningful change.
I think they are doing a tremendous disservice to an agreement that was signed. It was a terrible agreement. It shouldn't have been signed. It shouldn't have been negotiated the way it was negotiated. I'm all for agreements, but that was a bad one, as bad as I've ever seen negotiated. They are not living up to the spirit of the agreement, I can tell you that. And we're analyzing it very, very carefully, and we'll have something to say about it in the not too distant future. But Iran has not lived up to the spirit of the agreement. And they have to do that. They have to do that. So we will see what happens.
I don't think it's fair to say that Carter's somehow responsible for the Islamic Revolution and the fact that the Shah left, in effect, in exile. Having said that, it was the single worst intelligence failure in American history. We didn't realize, the CIA didn't tell the president, didn't know that the Shah had lost all of his domestic support. They didn't know that our principal ally for 25 years, the recipient of our most sophisticated arms, had lost not only the support, but was getting, for 5 years, secret treatments for incurable cancer. He was a sick man. I don't